Susan, congratulations, a personal best in the 5,000 at the Olympics and 8th place. You must be very happy with that.
Yeah, I'm super happy because, last year I was 8th and this year at the Olympics the level's so much higher, and, I was hoping for 8th place and I didn't know where I was, in what position I was running during the race, and I just fought for every spot, and then to find out that I came 8th, I was over the moon.
And the winner was an Olympic record, so as you say, the standard is really high.
Yes, it is.
Now, you've been using an elliptical.
So I use the elliptical because I get a lot of Achilles injuries, and especially when I train in the hills. And I know the hills, they make me stronger, but they're also a bit risky. So sometimes I just go over that line, and I know now when I need to stop, and I need to use the elliptical for my training. But I also always implement it for some second run. So that means I do a session in the morning, 3 times a week on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, and then in the afternoon I decide whether to go for a second run or elliptical, and often it's elliptical, just to not have all that impact going through my Achilles and just still recover, because the movement, it just increases the blood flow through the tendons, and at the same time I train my heart as well. And sometimes when I come back from injury with Achilles injuries in the morning, sometimes it's hard to run because the tendons are really stiff, so I will just go on elliptical for like maybe 15 minutes in the morning just to warm up the tendons, and then I go for my run. So it's kind of a warm-up thing, so that's what I use it for.
In your distance base period, what sort of percentage are you doing on the elliptical?
I always aim to run between 100 and 120 Ks, and then on top of that probably 5 hours on the elliptical. Sometimes I do little sessions, and sometimes it's just a second run, so it's just something easy. It just depends on how much running I do, whether I use it for sessions as well.
You're not only using it for distance and for fat metabolizing, using it also as a strength machine.
Yes, also because on the elliptical your stride, your cadence is not as quick as for running, so you don't want to get too slow. So I sometimes use it to go on the elliptical in the hills, and then every hill I go uphill, I go hard. When I go downhill, I just roll. And around where I'm from, in Nijmegen, they have lots of hills. The 7 Hills race, I don't know if you've heard of it, the 15K race is actually in my hometown. And, well, there's obviously 7 hills, and there's more hills than that. So, I go on those hills, and I really work hard up the hill and then go easy down the hill. And I like to do it that way. It's pretty much a fartlek, and I like to do it that way because it's more motivating than looking at your watch and being like, oh, I still have a minute to go. It's just like, okay, that's the top of the hill, that's where I'm going hard, and then I can rest. So it keeps it really fun. I actually think going on elliptical is really fun. It takes the annoying out of cross training, so it doesn't make me so sad as being on a bike. That would make me sad if I didn't have an elliptical.
How long are these hills?
Sometimes between 200 to short hills up to 2Ks. There's some long gradual hills that actually get steeper and steeper towards the end, and those are actually really good. Giro d'Italia was the first stage, was in my hometown, and one of the hills they used on the course, that's one of the hills I always do, and it's actually a really fun one and really challenging. Sometimes my fiance goes with me on the electrical bike, and he tries to pace me, and he goes ahead of me, and he goes just try to stick with me, and it actually makes it really fun.
Do you use it for intervals, in the flat, for sprint?
Not so much, because you actually go fast really quickly. Sometimes for fun, take it to the track and just, try to go 400 meters fast. And when you start out, it's going slower than running, obviously. But by the end, you actually I don't want to go any faster because I'm scared. So not so much on the flat, because I would be going too fast.
And have you used the arc at all?
No, I haven't actually. I was in San Diego in April, and they did have an arc there, but I didn't get around to trying it. And I'm so attached to my elliptical, but everywhere I go, the first thing I try to sort out is, do I have an elliptical? Otherwise, I cannot train in this spot. So I'm really fortunate that elliptical has been arranging. In South Africa, I had an elliptical. In San Diego, I obviously had an elliptical, and then in Holland, I had an elliptical.
Do you come to South Africa very often?
No, it was my first time. I went to Dullstroom for a month, and I really loved it, and I know for sure that I'll be back every January for training there, because I came back really good from that training camp. There was a grass track as well, and I like grass tracks, and it makes it really hard to do your track sessions, but you come back so strong, because once you go on a normal track, you're like, oh, this is easy.
So elliptical wise, you would recommend that. What do you think the muscles are that are actually going to benefit?
Well, obviously obviously your calf muscles, but I also think it depends on where you position your feet. You use your glutes more or your quads more. As a runner, I'm pretty quad dominated, and I need to actually make sure that I use that back chain a bit more. So I make sure that I position my feet right, come up onto my toes, so I actually really move that Achilles too. So it really depends on what you want to work, how you position your feet, what you're training.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well done again.
Nice to meet you.
Maeve, congratulations on your run. Pity about the slip at the finish there, but I love the way you turned it into press-ups.
That's probably what I'm going to be remembered for, but at the same time, I've been silver medalist, 4th place, and a great finish, and the finish was epic. I knew I would have to be careful throughout the whole time, and I was looking back, make sure I didn't sprint, but I guess at the end there was a little bit more slippery area, and I slipped, and no, I did push-ups like fine with it.
You've been training a lot with an elliptical. Now, we've only just got the elliptical into South Africa. Can you just explain how you use that and what sort of sessions you use it for?
The elliptical is a great machine to be able to just use it for cross training. I used to run twice a day, now I just do once a day, and then use the elliptical 4 to 5 times a week. As you get older, recovery, no impact, no pounding, so it's been fun to be able to use it. And cardiovascular is very strong. You're trying to prevent staying healthy, but part of getting here is getting staying healthy, especially at the age.
Yeah, and do you use it for interval training?
I have not used it for interval training. I should probably take a day off and just do interval training on the elliptical. I need to modify my training.
Yeah, and what about the arm?
I have tried it a few times. There's a new one that is very similar, and it's a lot more portable.
Right, but do you find that it changes the muscle use at all?
A little bit. It's a little bit different, but almost the same.
Yeah. And percentage-wise, what would you use the elliptical in a week?
I just back off the last 3 weeks. Otherwise, I'm like 4 or 5 times a week. I use it a lot.
Excellent.